Obama exits the G20 meeting in Russia, but what does he have to show for it? We'll have that and more right here, right now on the News Hub. Good afternoon and welcome. I'm Simon Constable. With more on the conclusion to the G20 meeting, we have Wall Street Journal White House reporter Colleen McCain Nelson joining us from Washington. Colleen, big event leaving the G20. Did President Obama actually come away with anything? Did he come away with what he needs?
Well, I'm not sure he got everything he needs or wanted, but he definitely made some progress while he was there. As soon as the G20 wrapped up, the White House put out a joint statement that the U.S. and 10 other countries had signed on to, calling for a strong international response in Syria, and essentially saying that these countries back the U.S. in responding to Syria's use of chemical weapons. And so it's worth noting, though, that 10 countries signed on to that. Only 9 of them were members of the G20. So that means he came away with a very divided G20, with 10 countries saying we're with the U.S. And there should be a response to Syria, and 10 other countries remaining unconvinced.
Okay, and is part of that the fact that, from my understanding, proceedings and the event was bogged down with countries complaining about the NSA snooping and what Edward Snowden, the NSA leaker, had revealed?
Right. These issues definitely are following Obama across the world. On the NSA front, he faced some anger from some other countries, from Brazil and Mexico. In particular, there have been reports that the NSA had snooped on their communications. So President Obama met with the leaders from those 2 countries. He said that he wanted to address the source of tension. The president of Brazil had demanded a public apology. Obama did not give her that. He basically, at his press conference, said today, we have an intelligence agency. Its job is to dig up information that's not public. And he said, you know what, just like we have a bigger, more capable military than other smaller countries, we also have a bigger, more capable intelligence agency. And he did not apologize for that fact.
Wow. So the opportunity there to even just say, I'm sorry, was in some sense missed there. Coming back, is it really going to matter whether he has allies when it's looking increasingly shaky about whether the House of Representatives even want to approve any action here in the U.S.?
Well, that's an excellent question, and I guess it's kind of a chicken and egg thing. Do we need allies if they're not going to do anything, and do we need them if Congress isn't going to approve this in the first place? But if nothing else, Obama can go to Congress now and say, look, I'm building support around the world. We're not standing alone. These other 10 countries are with us. They agree that not only were chemical weapons used, they agree that the Assad regime is responsible for that, and that there needs to be a response. So if nothing else, it adds to the case that he will make to Congress. That doesn't mean that Congress will be convinced, of course.
Now Colleen, what's interesting to me is about G20 meetings were something once upon a time that were just for, policy people, economic policy. Typically, hey, how are we going to get things better for the economy worldwide? Not so much this time. Was that a surprise to you or not, given the circumstances?
Well, I think given the circumstances and just kind of what we saw in the lead up to the G20, it was evident that current events were going to overtake any agenda that might have been laid out some time ago for the G20. And even though everyone in the G20 came out with statements at the end today about economic policies and plans to reduce greenhouse gases and that type of thing, they made all these statements about other things. Syria, the NSA, Edward Snowden, these other kind of unfolding events really overtook the storyline from the G20.
Oh, yes, they did. Thank you very much. Colleen McCain Nelson of the Wall Street Journal. We appreciate your time. You can read more on that on WSJ.com. What's in this week's Barron's? We'll tell you after the break.